Alright, I'm going to attempt to go through assaulting because this is very different from version 3. I think it's actually much better, more simple once you get the hang of it. So just like with normal, you would do your normal move and you got to stay outside 2 inches. So let's say I'm sitting back here with my tanks. I'm using Panzer III up armored, and he's got motor platoon with the Bren guns, anti-tank rifle, and 2-inch mortar. So let's say I can move 10, but I've got to stay 2 inches outside. So I'm going to move my guys like so. Okay? So now I'm within 4, but outside 2. Once movement is over, I can then shoot. So if I shoot my machine guns, I get 4 machine guns each, which means I would roll 12 shots. Okay? Now the problem with this, let's say I roll and I kill these 2 guys right here. I now have to be within 4 inches, and I'm not. So that I would not be able to assault his troops if I took out those 2 guys. So that's something that you have to be aware of. So let's say I am shooting, let's say they're dug in. I shoot them, nothing happens, then I assault. On the assault, you get to move 4. You got to go directly at them, so you can't just kind of go around or anything like that. And you've got to be flush with the front. You can't go in and say, I'm here, and I'm here, and we're touching. It has to be front to front. Now, I believe that the rules are open for you to slide in a second one here, but you've got to be flush. And then this guy can go over here and be flush here. Then at this point you roll 2 dice to see what these guys do. They're veteran, so that 3 would hit, which means this guy is dead. And then I roll for this guy over here. He hits, so this guy is dead. But the assault's not over because I am within 4 inches of somebody else here. So the assault can continue. So they have to see if they counterattack. Now normally they would counterattack on a 4 for confident, but here they have bulldog. Their counterattack is 3, and they missed, so they would have to break off. Now this is the break off rule is where they would have to move more than 6 inches away from my tank. So the fastest way to get outside of 6 inches, and that's what you do. You get, and you can move your tactical, and that'll come important with the with guns, because usually you don't have a big deal here. So these guys go here, and these guys back off like so. Okay, then these guys get a consolidation. They can move 4 inches in any direction and reconsolidate their forces. And then, so let's say I just move like so, and the assault is over. And then it goes to the British turn. Okay, so that's a basic assault. If the British had been successful on their bulldog, they had not rolled a 1, they rolled a 4, let's say, then they would be able to run right in to get there. Okay, and then they would swing. This guy would swing on him. He hit. Being a tank, he has to roll an armor save. Infantry just has a 2 anti-tank versus top 1, so that bounces. And these 2 guys swing. 1 hits, 1 just not roll a 1, so he's okay. And then let's say this guy is able to, I think it's the boy's anti-tank. Let's say he's able to hit. Oh, by the way, the smaller teams, not the commander, but the mortar and these guys have to roll a little bit higher. You can see they get an assault of 4 up. So they would have to, they assault on a 4 rather than their deadly assault of 3. So let's say this guy gets here and he bails out this tank somehow, miraculously. And then these guys, when it's their turn to counterattack, they're confident and they roll a 1. That means that they have to get outside. They use their tactical, get outside 6. But this guy can't move. So now he's destroyed. This is how infantry blows up tanks, is by bailing them out and then forcing the rest, either bailing them all out or forcing them out to back off, in which case this guy gets left behind and now it's destroyed. So that's the basics of assaults. One step I left out in the last one was defensive fire. I wanted to really save it for these guns. So let's say I'm charging these guns here. I do my fire, it doesn't do anything, and then I say I'm going to go and assault these guys. Okay? They get their defensive fire. As long as they're within 8 inches, they get to roll. So now there's 2 shots each. Let's take a look at the 17 pounders. 17 pounders get 2 shots, anti-tank at 12. So they need to roll a 4 to hit the tanks, and they hit 1 time. Okay? So now it's anti-tank 12 versus front armor, or actually it's side armor. When you're charging in, even if it's from the front, you count as the side armor. So then I roll a 3, that's a 6, not even close to getting through for the anti-tank. And then the anti-tank 3 up blows up one of my tanks. You know, let's say he chose this one and blows up this tank. So this tank would be destroyed. Now had he done that to 2 tanks, they would have had to back off. Okay, but now I still get in. I lost a tank coming in. I get to roll for here. This guy blows up this gun. Then I roll for here, and he survives. So now they roll to counterattack. They're fearless, and they run away. They don't have a tactical. They're supposed to get outside 6, if you remember, and they can't do it because they have 0 tactical, which means that this guy is now destroyed. So they blew that one. So now I can reconsolidate 4 inches, whatever I want to do, and that's over. Okay, now a little bit of tactics. Let's say I start off here with my tanks. I do my regular movement of 10 inches, stay outside of 2, so that I bring all these guys over here. Let's see if I could reach. Yeah. Okay, so as long as I'm behind, or partially behind this front line, even if I'm halfway here, if I understand the rules correctly, you can see that he's partially behind. I know it's hard to see on the camera angle, but he's partially behind the front of that, which means that he's behind it. Now what happens is, I do my shooting, the gun shields wouldn't, but let's say I don't do anything with my shooting somehow. When I charge in, these guys right here are forward firing. Because they're forward firing, they cannot defensive fire against my guys coming in the flank. So that's why you want to get around on the flank on guns. Now I get to go in 1, 2, and if I've got 4 inches, which I think I do, I can come in around here. And now I've got 3 shots against him. Of course I kill him. I wasn't touching the other one, so this hit goes to waste. So then he rolls to see if he can counterattack. Here's the pain of being guns. He's fearless, so he makes it. He sticks, but he cannot, guns cannot go and engage a tank. So he's got to sit there. So now the tanks roll. And actually they ran away, but no, yeah, they actually would run away, which is funny, so that gun would survive. But let's say they didn't, let's say they rolled a 5, then these guys would do their 4-inch movement, which these 2 guys get in real easy, and then this guy actually can get around the side, so now they roll their 3 dice and just completely roll up the flank, and wow, they needed it to blow up this gun. So that's important to understand. When you're going up against guns, check to see if they're forward firing. If they are, then you can flank them and get them on the side. Alright, the next thing that I see here on assaults is in a forest. So when I move in, I've got to do my cross checks which are 3 up. So I do it individually. I'm going to go with this guy first. He makes it, so he gets in. I already did all the fire, defensive fire and everything. This guy rolls, he makes it in. And then let's say this guy rolls a 1. He will go right up to the edge of the forest and stop. Now he's not engaged with this guy, so now only these 2 guys can swing. He swings and hits, so this guy's dead. This guy swings and misses. Good. Okay, so now the infantry can counterattack. So let's say they make their counterattack, they roll a 5, and then this guy comes in here. Let's see if anybody can reach. Yep. He can reach here, 4 inches. He can go over here, and then this guy, somewhat, he can just, infantry can stack up. So we're just going to leave it like that. Alright, so let's say they start rolling, nothing happens. Then the Germans go and they successfully, I'm cheating here, they successfully counterattack. Now, none of these guys have to move in the forest. Question is, do they have to roll their cross check if they don't move? The answer is yes. Even if they don't move, they still have to do a cross. So let's try with this guy, 3 up. He's good. This guy, he's good. And then let's say this guy fails. Okay? So this guy fails his cross check. He does not get to swing here, whereas these 2 get to swing. So he swings here and hits the guy that he's in contact with. This guy swings. He's going to go, well, he misses. Otherwise, the defender would get to choose, I believe. And then this guy doesn't get to swing. And then we start the counterattack again and see what happens on the counterattack. But keep in mind that if you're in the forest, you're fighting in the forest, tanks have to keep rolling their cross checks. Now, if you notice, this guy failed his first cross check, and then he had a chance to go again in the second round. He got to roll and succeeded in his cross check and got to swing and kill something. So unlike version 3, where once you bog down, you are out of the assault. Here, you bog down, you just have to wait till the next counterattack for a chance to swing.